Imagine hanging out, right? And all of a sudden, you just hear people talk. But it seems that these people are talking about you. Everywhere you go, people are constantly talking about you everywhere. Even though people that have not experienced gang stalking might consider this paranoia, the truth is that the effect of believing that everyone around you is talking about you is created via manipulation. In order for you to understand this, you first have to have knowledge of how the mind works. The mind is an organ that records thoughts, sensations, emotions, feelings, movements into itself. So whenever you have a thought very frequently, or whenever you experience something very frequently, your mind is recording that emotion and that thought. So for example, if you are surrounded by people that talk indirectly about you for a very, very long time, the result is going to be that because you were surrounded by people and people were talking about you indirectly, whenever you hear someone speak, you're gonna have a thought, they're talking about me, they're talking about me, they're talking about me. So that is literally psychological programming. And whenever you hear someone talk about something that appears or that could possibly be about something that has to do with you, you will have to believe that they are talking about you because for a very long time, people were talking indirectly about you. For example, let's assume that you are the target, right? And gang stalkers are calling you dirty indirectly. So let's say that you work in retail and then your coworkers are like, oh, the floor is dirty, but they say dirty with an intonation and they look at you funny, where they obviously mean the word dirty to you. That in itself is the actual programming. Talking indirectly about you is actual programming. So in this case, you are practically sensitized to the word dirty. And whenever you hear dirty, you're gonna have a thought that person is talking about. So imagine this goes on for months. Literally months, people talking, people calling you dirty indirectly. That in itself is the programming. You see, gang stalking is something that takes a lot of years to develop. So every single thing, every single suspicion that the target has is actually done one by one. In this case, dirty, it was the word. So that word is going to be continuously used. And gang stalkers around you are going to be saying the word dirty, dirty. And the thing with indirect communication is that everything is said in a manner that makes it appear that it's directed to you. But when confronted, it can always be denied. So the word dirty is a word that people use commonly. So assuming that you are the person in charge of cleaning. So your coworkers are going to come to you and telling you, oh, that's dirty, like that. And that is going to be dug into your mind so much that whenever you hear the word dirty, you're going to feel anguish in your body and you're going to have the thought that person is saying that because of me. So that's going to happen so much that whenever you are out and about, taking care of business, whatever it is that you want to do or that you have to do, whenever you hear the word dirty, your mind is going to automatically pull out the conditioned thought, which was, that's a gang stalker and that gang stalker is saying the word dirty to fuck me. And you're going to even have the physiological emotion. The physiology is what really makes the sensation, the word real, as in it makes it true to you that it is being purposely said to offend you. That is literal psychological programming. And it's going to be done to you, the target, mercilessly. So then they're going to add another word. Like in my case, it was the word starter, which I thought it was just such a stupid word. Like it had no meaning. But I worked at auto parts store, So by this time in my situation, when gang stalkers wanted me to tie into that word, it didn't work. Like only a couple of words worked in the beginning, but then everything stopped working because I understood the mechanics behind gang stalking. I understood everything about it. Actually, in the end, gang stalkers just began looking stupid. But the truth is that they wanted to sensitize me to other words, and they just couldn't get one. Actually, they tried to sensitize me for a lot more words, for the last 2 years or more, but nothing was working because I understood everything. I was more busy trying to understand the psychological mechanisms than I was trying to understand or paying I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. I was more interested in the psychological mechanisms than I was in the actual gang stalking operation. So there was a time where gang stalkers were trying to use the word bag. Like for real. They were trying to use the word bag. They were so stupid because they were literally trying to be like bag. But that's how gang stalking is. So now it's just stupid. But the thing is that the words have to do with a negative experience that you had. So like the job of the gang stalker is to find a word that pulls up a negative memory that you have. And it's a game. It's literally a game. So like when someone gets the word right, gang stalkers just like bang or some shit like that. I'm sorry. Ignore the bang. We're not covering that yet. And I haven't talked about banging in a long time. So that isn't a topic that we're going to discuss in this video. So typically in any gang stalking operation, except mine, the gang stalkers are actually going to be good. And they're actually going to get a word that ties into a negative memory. So whenever you hear the word, it like pulls up the negative memory. And that is what causes the target to feel a negative experience. So like for a while, like I felt like I was a whore for a little bit. And no. For a while, I was trying to be a whore, but gang stalkers didn't allow me. And that's the truth, because they were just fucking meddling in my business. And like I literally have gone like years without like having sex. Like it's insane. But for some reason I just like they like pushed the high mileage, narrative that I believed I was a whore, even though I wasn't. Because like I wasn't really hooking up with anyone. I was trying really hard. But gang stalkers literally didn't allow me to like enjoy any type of like sex. They would always fucking intersect my hookups and entertain me until it was like the day was up. So I would be sexually frustrated. I'm not kidding you. That's exactly what happened. But like that didn't stop me from trying. If something everyone knows about me is that I am tenacious as fuck and I do not give a fuck what about anyone says. So I'm gonna fucking try. But let me tell you, the harder I tried, the harder they tried. So I'm gonna give them props for that. That's the only thing that I'm gonna give him props. No, but for real. So like I believe that I was like a whore because I was like trying to have sex, with a couple of people. But gang stalkers were like just began chatting with me and they would distract me and I would end up not hooking up. So like I guess it's okay because they saved me from like actually being a whore. So whatever, I don't care. But the important thing is that because I was like, trying to hook up and I was so sexually frustrated that I felt like I was a whore. So the word high mileage, was a trigger. I remember one time at work, like my boss put me to like, to clear a stack of boxes that were all high mileage products. That was actually really good because that shit was good. That was like, damn, like that was good gang stalking. Because I felt I was like, oh my god. And to be honest, I know for a fact they put the shit on purpose there. That they purposely put me to put away all the high mileage products. That was sick. That was good gang stalking. Like that was good. At the time, it was like horrific. It was, for real. Because I was like, every time I saw the word high mileage, I just like felt like, like on my throat. That shit was crazy. That was cool. But anyways, give me a second. So, that happened, right? So I was like significantly tied into the word high mileage because I thought I was, but the truth is that I wasn't. So one day I was like, I'm talking to a lot of people, but I'm not actually out having a lot of sex. I'm talking a lot about sex. I'm exchanging a shit ton of pictures and I'm talking to a shit ton of people, but I'm not actually having sex. So I'm not high mileage. I tried to be. I'm not gonna lie. I fucking tried to be. But gang stalking didn't let me. So then I was like, oh shit. I'm not high mileage. So guess what? The high mileage word stopped working. So if you're a gang stalker, if you're gang stalking someone, the words have to be a representation of a negative experience or a negative characteristic of the target. Like, or it has to bring them like a negative experience. Like, for example, the color white. So there is like one of my deepest, darkest secret has to do with the color white. I'm not gonna tell you what, I'm not gonna tell you who, what, when, why, where, nothing, but it has to do with the color white. So I had a dream where a gang stalker was like going inside my mind, like whoosh, and I swear to God, like I relived that experience that has to do with the color white. So then, for like a while, you know, or wait, let me rephrase that. So all of a sudden, I went to work, and it was like a couple of days later. A gang stalker was looking at like I don't know what behind me, and he looked at me and he said, "White." But by this point, I didn't know that gang stalkers like weren't inside your head. Like around this time was when I was like hearing voices and shit. And the hardest thing of gang stalking was breaking the illusion that gang stalkers didn't know what I was thinking. Like that was the hardest illusion to break. Like I had to break like a dimension. It was insane. That shit was crazy. But when the person said white, all of a sudden at work, there were a bunch of like white sheets of paper, and then my coworkers were like leaving a bunch of receipts, you know. And I remember that I was like staying at this hotel, and then I watched the 7-Eleven, and then I remember I saw someone with a white dog, and the person was like white, and I was like, okay, that's fucking weird. Like, why is that happening? But because the color, the word had a significance to me, I felt that gang stalkers knew what I was thinking. So like the voices in your head plus the actual gang stalkers work in tandem. Like they work together to create the illusion. You literally have a gang stalker in your head. So it feels like gang stalkers know what you're thinking, and everyone that said the word white, you feel like they're saying the word because of you. So imagine over the years, over 7 fucking years, like I lived it, I was sensitized to bag, to black, to starter, to white, orange, strangers, red hair, bottles, shopping carts, pen clicks, the words big, small, any type of word that had a sexual connotation, whole. I'm not kidding you. So like these words to you, people have done this into your mind, you know. So like after 7 years, there's a repertoire of words that have been used against you, literally. So whenever you hear these words, because the person is a gang stalker, or the people that have used these words to fuck you are gang stalkers, you are conditioned to have the thought that person is a gang stalker whenever you hear that word, or that person is harassing me when you hear the word. So these words, colors, symbols, objects, all of these are like everywhere. So like, let's say that you're conditioned to red. Because let's say that you're a chick, right, and you have your period. So gang stalkers would literally like go to the restroom and then look at the I'm not kidding you, like and like if they know that you had your period, they're gonna be like, ew, period, you know, like that, I swear. And then like they will start like putting red things like where you're at. That's how simple it is. And then you would get the word period, like people would mock you relentlessly with the word period and the color red. So guess what? Even though periods are normal, even though red is just a fucking color, when it's used to harass you, and people are wearing the color, you know, of red, you know, because they're mocking you. So this is gonna be imposed so much on your mind that whenever you see anyone holding a red product, you're gonna be like, that person is a gang stalker. Why? Because you were programmed to have the thought that person is a gang stalker. Because a lot of people wore the color red or mocked you for having a fucking period. So gang stalking is awful when it's happening, but within a wider perspective, it's fucking stupid. But it's really effective if you don't know. If you don't know anything about gang stalking is really effective. So like, for example, another thing is that this fucking up with your head makes your mind so malleable that the world will sensitize you automatically. I'm not joking. The world will sensitize you automatically. Like I worked at Array Auto Parts, and everything is in green. Everything at the store is green. The logo, everything is green. So like all of a sudden, I was just working, doing my job, and all of a sudden, the green starts popping up. The green just fucking starts popping up like crazy, like green, 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 green. And it's like, oh my God, I've been sensitized to green. But I love the color sensitization. Like the color sensitization to me was so much fun because it just looks cool. So I was sensitized to green. And this fucking store sensitized me to green. For real. Another sensitization thing. So the world sensitized me to black holes. So that's gonna sound weird, but like I was just working and then I had to change the liners, and they're like big black trash cans. And all of a sudden, because when you change in the liner, it's a black hole, And that day I remember I was selling a lot of hoses. So hoses for the radiators, they're like big and black and long. So like you have to see the black hole. So like I was exposed to a lot of black holes that day. Not the one that I was craving, but a lot of black holes. So all of a sudden, anything that's black, like car windows, I was sensitized to. Like I felt that gang stalkers had literally just sensitized me to black windows. So like, or to tinted windows. So like it felt like the black windows were there because gang stalkers were doing that, And then all of a sudden I saw a fucking double-decker bus with tinted windows. And when you're getting gang stalked, you're in such a sensitive state of mind that you start getting sensitized to things automatically. And now because I have more distance from it, I can see what gang stalkers actually try to sensitize me to and the things that I sensitize myself to. So I'm going to tell you how gang stalkers sensitize me to VIN numbers. So one whole day, this took a whole day. I worked on Array Auto Parts and everyone was asking me, hey, so what is the VIN number for this? Hey, what is the VIN number? So I was repeating a lot of I was like, A for this number, A for apple, B as in baboso, C as in culero, D as in dedo. Like I was saying this the whole day, and my mind was fucking exhausted. So you reach a point of exhaustion where you like panic, and something happens to your mind that when you panic, like there is like an actual mechanism that changes in your head. So when that does, like boom, you're sensitized. And all of a sudden, like whenever you would have to recite a VIN number, I would just feel like terror. It's the craziest thing, but that is how gang stalking works. Because I was sensitized so many times to so many things, I understood how it felt, I understood how it was done, I understood everything of it. So like I was able to snap out of the sensitization because I learned how to. But let me tell you, when all of these words and letters are, oh wait, I'm getting too excited. So these words and these letters, so now let's conclude that you've been sensitized to a shit ton of words such as dirty. I already gave you the examples. So you can also be sensitized to double entendres such as big, small, hard, soft. So gang stalkers in one day, I bombarded my mind with a bunch of these words, like a bunch of double entendres. I literally had customers go like this. Okay, so the hole is like this big, and then I need a screw to stick it in like this. Like I had customers do that to me. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. And then the gang stalkers were like, oh, so do you think this screw would fit in this hole like this? Like gang stalkers did that to me. I'm not kidding. Like they literally did that. And it's so ridiculous. But when you're like getting gang stalked, that shit doesn't feel good. So the whole day, and there was a point where my heart rate went up and the actual sensitization was successful. There is something that happens in your mind where the meaning of those words change. Like it's the hardest thing to explain, but when you have been harassed with something, there is like a switch that is turned on with the words that are used. And whenever you hear the word, you like feel like a sense of dread. So me coming from a background where I have dealt with a lot of people who have narcissistic personality disorder, I don't know why I just fucking attract those people for some reason. I don't know. I feel like I have the fucking face of someone that says, hey, manipulate me, okay? Anyways, so the change happened. And because I have been through so much shit, I know better than not to react, not to say anything, do absolutely nothing. Pretend like nothing ever happened. But when this happened, desensitization to the big, hard, small, whatever, that was very effective. That was very, very effective. Like whenever I heard the word big or small, I felt terror. Like that worked. So I was closing the store, right? And I began watching YouTube because I was done doing my job. And the person that was talking in the YouTube videos was saying a bunch of the fucking code words that I had been sensitized to. The concept of double sexual entendres. And let me tell you, I felt fucking terror because I was like, oh my god. It felt like the person talking in the YouTube video was a gang stalker and had just made that video with those words purposefully. So that sensitization is so powerful that whenever you hear anyone saying the word in a song, in a video, on the street, you know that the person is a gang stalker. And not only that, but then your mind starts imagining like gang stalkers actually talking to the person in the video and be like, oh hey, so can you use these words in your video because we're sensitizing this person, and you just feel like the person talking in the video fucking knows that you're a target. It's the craziest shit ever. So that's why people believe that gang stalkers are everywhere, because the sensitization is a mechanical thing. It's like a switch that is literally turned on. But with me, I knew too much about it. I knew too much about gang stalking. That's why it wasn't as effective as it could have been. Plus, the fact that I was making these videos literally helped me clear up my mind. So if you're new to the channel, notice that I began this channel a year ago. So today is my 1 year anniversary of this channel, by the way. 1 year anniversary. So today is literally my 1 year anniversary of this channel. I can't believe it flew by, huh? So when I was sensitized to all of these words, the effect that it has is that whenever you're on the street and you hear the radio say the word starter, big, hard, soft, small, whatever, your imagination begins working and you start feeling, and you feel and you know that the person talking is a gang stalker and is saying that in spite of you. So that is the sensitization to words. The sensitization to words is done this way. So this is the part where I'm telling gang stalkers how to do it. So if you're a target, you understand this because this is what's gonna happen if you're a target. Is that gang stalkers are gonna push onto colors or words or objects or whatever, and they're gonna harass you with them as much as possible. But there has to be a point where it's pushed so hard that something happens in your brain where it kind of gives in and it accepts the words as it ties in the words with only gang stalkers use those words to harass you. So like your brain kind of accepts that as a fact. It just accepts it as a fact. And you become convinced, just like people are convinced that there's a hell and that there's a heaven. Like it is that type of conversion. It is literal religious conversion, but of gang stalking. So like, because you feel a lot of emotions and you feel a lot of dread and this word is being pushed onto you a lot, there's going to be something where you're like left shaking, where something happens to your brain and your brain accepts it. This is what you have to understand. So if you are a target, whenever you hear a word that is being used against you, don't think of the negative memory. What you want to do is that, because you cannot do anything about gang stalkers imposing these words on you, it is up to you to have the word remind you of a negative experience or not. Like gang stalkers were pushing water bottles onto me a lot. So like whenever I thought water bottle, instead of bringing the negative experience that the word water bottle is tied to, the word water bottle, I tied into I need to stay hydrated. So like whenever I saw a water bottle, so like I think, oh, I need to stay hydrated. Because that was gonna be relentlessly pushed onto me because I understood gang stalking. So now whenever I see a water bottle, I think, oh, I'm thirsty. Or I like envision myself, being really hydrated and really healthy and working out. So now I think of positive things. So like I changed the game. I literally use gang stalking to help me. But very easily, gang stalkers, if you don't manage your mind, gang stalkers can make a water bottle pull up a really, really negative memory and keep you stuck there. If you are a gang stalker, you have to make sure, one, that the target doesn't watch my videos. Because if that's the case, then you're fucked. Two, You have to make sure to really push the word until you see the person shaking. You have to see the person shake. You have to see the person shake. And you have to make sure that the target either runs away or is visibly mortified. And if you push that for like 1 day or 2, it's probably that the target knows who I am, and the target probably watched my videos and knows better than not to react. So yeah, I'm sorry for you. Anyways, so if you're the target, just know, if you're the gang stalker, I'm sorry, I'm getting excited. So if you happen to be the target, don't react, and whenever something offends you, follow it up with an affirmation or a beautiful thought or a beautiful image. So if you know that gang stalkers are harassing you with the color red, whenever you see the color red, don't think of gang stalker, because you're only programming yourself to think of gang stalking when you see the color red. When you see the color red, think of a beautiful rose and think, I am determined to survive this with a fucking passion like the color red. That way, you make gang stalkers program you to be the best version of yourself, which is exactly what I was doing. I was using all the things that gang stalkers were supposed to program me to become worse. I used all that to program me to immediately turn over all the damage they had done over the last 7 years. Okay. Anyways, my name is Efren Rodriguez, and this is the Gang Stalking Playbook. If you enjoy this content, please like, share, subscribe. If you don't, then just GTFO. But anyways, I thank you for your viewership. This is my 1 year on YouTube, and I can't believe it. So, in conclusion, gang stalkers program your mind via merciless repetition, and they try to say words that have a type of negative meaning to you, and they will bombard you with that word. That is a psychological attack because it is triggering you a negative emotion. So with time, these words are going to be used by gang stalkers a lot. So whenever you are outside and you hear a word that gang stalkers use, your mind is going to automatically make the assumption that the person that said the word is a gang stalker. Okay? So you just have to understand that mechanism. All right? That's it for this video. Bye, guys.